welcome back. Today we're going to be doing part 2 of our beginner's guide focusing on eyeshadow. So far we have only dived into part 1 of this series, which was focusing on tools for makeup beginners such as brushes, sponges, and all of that kind of stuff. So today what I want to focus on was the next step in the makeup routine, which for me generally my first step is eyeshadow so that I can avoid fallout getting onto my face after I've done my complexion, because then you have to go back and fix it and it's just like doing the work over again twice. So for me, I do either my eyeshadow or usually my brows first. So today we're going to focus on eyeshadow. So the first thing that I want to recommend to you as a beginner is eyeshadow primer. Now, some people will use concealer for eyeshadow primer. For me, that does not generally work because my eyelids are dry, so it will make it look very cakey and creased. The eyeshadow primer that I particularly use time and time again, if you've watched my videos, you will know, is the Milani eyeshadow primer. I like this primer because once you sheer it out, really, you can't really see the tint. So I just put a very light, thin layer all across my eyelids before my eyeshadow application. I do believe this helps to extend the wear of your eyeshadow throughout the day so that you don't get creasing right here, or that your eyeshadow doesn't just fade off. So this is the first thing that I would recommend. Now, I have tried other ones, but for me personally, this is the one that I have enjoyed the most, and I've used time and time again. For my level 1 people, last time when we talked about brushes, I recommend this single brush from e.l.f. And along with this single brush, I'm going to recommend that level 1 people who are just starting out into makeup do a 1-over eyeshadow look. And what I mean by that is only using one eyeshadow for your entire look. So I have a couple examples here. This is a single eyeshadow from Maybelline. I believe this was $3. This is in the shade, did I take the shade name off? Nude Glow. I like this shade because it's a pinky gold shade that looks really nice on the eyelids as well as in the crease. There are tons of other shades. They have one that was very taupey in nature that was a lot more cool toned. They also have single eyeshadows from CoverGirl that I believe are a little bit more expensive. So in finding a single eyeshadow for your look, you should be able to find a shade and a tone that you like, whether you're going to go for kind of this warmer toned pinky gold or a more cool toned color such as a taupey color. Another formula that I really like are these Revlon Color Stay Cream eyeshadows. I have two, oh, that's the wrong finger to swatch. I have two currently in my collection. This is the shade 705, which is very, very golden. I also have 760, which is a straight silver. So there's that one. And then kind of in that same category but a different brand, this is the Maybelline Color Tattoo eyeshadows in the shade Socialite. This is a very pinky purple color. Let me swatch it for you. So here is that color. Sorry, that was, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, fluff up the hair. She's back. You look like the 4th of July. Makes me want a hot dog real bad. Gosh.
Oh, still a horrible swatch. Goodness, girl. Alright, so here we have the Maybelline single eyeshadow, which is in a powder form. These three are all cream products. I also have another cream one. This is an Almay Velvet Foil Cream Shadow, and this is in the shade Cupid Glaze. It's another very pinky toned eyeshadow. It is very resembling of this shade from Maybelline, however it has a little bit more of that intense pink color. I think that for a level 1, a beginner, since you're doing a 1-over eyeshadow look, I think that you could handle a cream product or a powder product. The key is going to be finding a color that you like. And the way that I recommend you apply this is to take whatever shadow you're going to use, whether it's powder or cream. You're going to take some on your finger, because again, these are some of the best tools that we have. Place the color all over your lid. And then take your e.l.f. brush with no additional product. Slightly grab the product from your eyelid and then blend it up into your crease. This is going to allow that color to kind of diffuse up into your crease, and it's going to create a shadow. So now, even though you've only used one shade of eyeshadow, it looks like two different shades because the intensity is different from your lid to your crease. And I honestly think that is the best choice for a beginner until you get the hang of that, and then you may want to move up to level 2. For my level 2 people, I am going to recommend you continue on with this one single eyeshadow look, however, build on it slightly. So for me, a way that is very, well, for anyone really, a way that is very easy to kind of take your eyeshadow look to the next step is to use your bronzer. So for this look, what I recommend is taking your brushes, and I believe last time I recommended this brush set from EcoTools. So you're going to take your brush set from EcoTools, and you can again either apply the single eyeshadow onto your lid with your finger or one of the brushes, and then go ahead and blend that out into your crease. And then to add definition, you're going to take your bronzer. You can pack that into the outer corner and bring it over into your crease to give a little bit more depth and dimension, because your bronzer is going to create an even darker shadow compared to the single eyeshadow being blended out. You can also take that bronzer and run it along your lower lash line to create that shadow as well. So this is a step that is very easy to do and doesn't require an additional product because you're already going to be using this bronzer on your face. So by taking the single eyeshadow and adding just a little bit of depth with the bronzer, you have now elevated your eyeshadow look a little bit. All right, for my step 3 people, I'm going to recommend that we stick with quads. No more than 4 to 5 eyeshadows in a palette. When you get a large eyeshadow palette, for instance, I'll just pull out my NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette. This can be very overwhelming to a beginner. You see all of these colors, you see all of these color schemes, all these color stories, and you're thinking, where do I even begin? What color do I put where? What do I even do with this? So for that reason, I'm going to recommend you sticking with a quad, or at most, potentially a 5-pan eyeshadow palette. So here I have a few examples to show you. I have the bite-sized eyeshadow palettes from e.l.f. that are 4 pans. There are a ton of different colors, so you can find if you like the berry tones, or if you want this kind of very neutral, kind of a basic palette. If you want something with more color, which for a beginner, I'm not going to recommend this one, obviously, with all the greens. A great quad is from Makeup Revolution. This is their XX line. This is called Expose. This is actually a dupe for one of the Charlotte Tilbury palettes. And again, it is this 4-pan quad. Wet n Wild, as we have seen, has recently released some of these 5-pan palettes. Now, I can't speak to all of the formulas for this because this is the only one I've tried. However, I do think it is a good palette for a beginner and relatively cheap. I believe this is under $4, as well as the e.l.f. ones are $3. Now this one was a little bit more expensive. This is a quad from Flower Beauty. However, you can get quads from CoverGirl or Maybelline, so it's not like you have to exclusively stick with these palettes that I'm recommending. These are just some that I happen to have in my collection already. So for today, I actually did use this Flower Beauty one in the demo, but it honestly could have gone with any of these quads. The way that I like to use a quad is I like to use a dark color. So for instance, we can select these two, place it into the outer corner, and the way I like to do it is just actually place it. I don't want to, at the beginning or at the very first, blend it. I literally want to take a brush and just place it. I'm just going to pack the darker color on to the outer corner. Then I'm going to take a blending brush and in small circular motions, blend that darker shade into my eyelid, so taking it from the outer corner to the inner corner, more so in the crease. Then you really can take any color that you like and put all over the lid. You could take either one of these two colors, or for me, for today, I use this darker purple coming from the Flower Beauty palette. Then if you want to spice it up, you can add the lighter color on top, which is what I did. I took some of this lighter kind of taupey, purpley, shimmery shade and put that in the center. Or if you don't want to, you could do this all over the lid, or you could do that all over the lid. So then you have two different looks depending if you want to go darker and smokier or lighter. So that could be two different looks in and of itself. Also with this brown, you could place that in the outer corner and just use one of these colors. So with a 4-pan palette, you really can have a lot of options in customizing, but not feel overwhelmed by the amount of shadows that you are trying to pull from. So for instance, this one, you could do the same. In this XX Exposed palette, you could put this in the crease or this in the crease. You could pack this in the outer corner or this in the outer corner. You could put this all over, then use this all over your lid or this all over your lid. With a 4-pan palette, it is going to allow you to have options but not feel overwhelmed and be able to customize a look to what you want, depending on, again, the colors that are in your palette. So again, for me today, I took this in the outer corner, this all over the lid, this in the center, and then I used this to blend out up to, not quite to my eyebrow, about, I would say 2/3 of the way up. So these are really great options, I think, for someone who's ready to take their makeup, their eyeshadow level up, but they don't want to be overwhelmed by the amount of eyeshadows that they're looking at. So Flower Beauty has quite a few different options of this quad as well as e.l.f. Again, you can find quads, Physicians Formula. They actually just released quads, which isn't a new concept or anything, but they just, I've seen where they have new quads, I believe, or maybe 5 eyeshadows, but they are catered to the different eye colors, and they actually have numbers in the palette that show you where to place the eyeshadow, like to get that desired effect. So I mean, that's even something that you may like as a beginner. But for me, these are the recommendations I would give you as to a level 1, a level 2, or a level 3 in eyeshadow. So I hope that this has helped you kind of gauge where you're at, letting you know what kind of products you may want to try, and how to apply them. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you will like and subscribe. If you have not seen part 1, I will link it for you above and below, and I hope to see you back here for part 3.